But it comes from that transparency and that clarity, right? I've got that pizza tracker that tells me when the car is coming. I know what the price is. I know who the driver is. I'm going to give him a security code to make sure that he doesn't confuse me with anybody else. And usually that car is clean, doesn't smell like Punjabi food, and I'm not leaving with stains on my shirt because the New York taxis are disgusting.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Liquid Lunch Project. I am Matthew R. Meehan, alongside my partner, the Professor Luigi Rosabianca. And today, we have absolutely no guests, but we got a very special World Cup edition for you.
Matt, thank you for that introduction. And the World Cup is not just about football or soccer, as us Americans call it. It's about loyalty. It's about identity, rituals, pride, belonging. Fans wearing jerseys, rearranging their schedules, defending their team, forgiving the bad games sometimes. And they come back and again for more losses. But we thought it would be a wonderful opportunity to show the audience and you loyal entrepreneurs and business owners how to turn your casual customers into rabid World Cup level fans of your business.
So, Lou, let me ask you a question. What is the difference between a customer and a fan?
A customer buys from you. A fan roots for you. A customer compares price. A fan tells people about you, sending you referrals. A customer may leave for a better deal. A fan feels connected enough to come back for more love of your business.
Man, I really want to get some customers that paint their faces for us.
Right, you can't imagine someone writing the Liquid Lunch Project on their cheeks and walking around town with it?
That would be amazing. So, Lou, this whole World Cup thing, people going out, putting on jerseys, painting their faces, screaming at the TV, emotionally attaching themselves to a team and players, and then they allow it to ruin their week. That's not rational behavior. That's fandom.
Matt, I'm going to make a prediction that the American GDP is going to go down a couple of basis points during the month of June because people are just going to take the half days, go watch their loyal teams, and whether they're rooting for America or they're rooting for Brazil because they like the latest soccer phenom, or they're rooting for France because they love Mbappé, say that 4 times. Rabid fandom is here in America. It'll probably wane in August, but it's here to stay for 30 days, and we're going to have a blast.
So, let's not have the GDP go down in our business. And I'm sure everybody listening doesn't want the GDP to go down in their business either. But, let's bring this back to business a little bit. Companies always want brand loyalty, but they're still operating like they're transaction machines out there. So how do you turn your customers into raving fans, people that actually root for you and root for your business?
There's a fine line between a customer and a fan. Fans come back on purpose. They've had a wonderful client experience. They were either provided with a great product or a great service. They tell other people about it. They're leaving you Google reviews. They refer their friends, and they forgive the occasional mistake. Now, why does that happen? Well, I think a little bit is transparency, bringing value, but we're building relationships. It's not a cult following where people want to come to Matthew because he gives working capital. They're coming to Matthew because you've built a relationship, and that client knows, or that fan knows, that Matt is always going to be in that small business's corner, and he's going to get them the best product and the best rates out there.
Fans seem to be a little bit more forgiving than customers, though. You screw up with a customer, they're not coming back. Lose 17 seasons, hey, I'm still painting my face.
Well, by definition, if you have a league with 20 teams, there's only going to be one winner. So you have 19 losers. But those 19 fans are going to come back every year and buy those season tickets and buy those dirty water dogs and watch all the games. Why? Because they're fans and they're going to live and die by their team.
It's a cult following. It's a mob mentality. Do you think a lot of these fans, World Cup, obviously you're born in the country, but if a state, a region, right, a football team here in the US, and I'm not talking about soccer, I'm talking about American football, the real football. Anyway, with that being said, Do you think it's something that is instilled in them from prior generations?
You're talking about soccer and football?
Everything across the board. That cult like team mentality, win, lose, I'm here to die for you.
Yeah, I think football is special because when football was originally organized, it was based upon your town team or your neighborhood team or your church or parish team. So there was always that visceral sense of belonging. Look, the up until recently, there was this dreaded hatred between the Scottish teams, whether you were a Protestant or you were a Catholic. Obviously, this has waned a little bit, but don't tell me there's not some vitriol between the Barcelona fans and the Real Madrid fans. They still hate each other. It goes back to the 1920s and the 1930s when Franco was a dictator, but those memories loom large.
You know, Lou, we speak to so many business owners, and one thing I think about is when we speak to them, we tell them that they need to raise their prices, you know, and the first reaction is always the same. It's, I can't raise my prices, I'll lose my customers. Well, if they had fans, do you think the fans would actually mind if they
That's
raised
a
their prices?
Matt, that's a great question because what do people remember about the user experience with your company? Could someone explain in one sentence that your business is distinct or are they interchangeable? Because if you're just selling a product or a service, you're interchangeable. And then the default conversation always comes down to price. But if you're bringing value, okay, and we'll give some examples later in the episode, but if you bring value, then it's a value proposition and not oh, well, this is 99 cents, but that's 98 cents. I'm going to get it at 98 cents.
I give you a perfect scenario with that, right? There's a restaurant down the block that we go to. I walk in, Gino comes over. He says, "Hey, Matt, how are you?" He sits me down. Every time I'm in there, he knows my name. I know my bill at the end of that restaurant. It's going to be somewhere around $200. Am I not going to go there because it's 210 or 220? Do I even notice that? Say, hey, prices went up, but I go somewhere where people make me feel good. They make me feel appreciated, and they're always there with a smile on their face.
Matt, today we're going to bring back the art of the buyback. I think it's a long lost art form. When you buy a first round or the second round, why can't that bartender send you a third round on the house? Does it really cost the house that much money? But you're creating a fan, right? You go to that red sauce Italian restaurant, send the guy an espresso, send him a tiramisu, right? You go for a Mexican restaurant during Cinco de Mayo, send him an extra order of guac on the side, right? It's that user experience that creates fandom.
Let's talk about that for a second too, because you need to be really careful, right? If you're going to the same restaurant with the same waiter, or if you're going to the same bar with the same bartender, generally you become fans of that waiter or that bartender. So when they jump ship, you usually tend to follow them and try out where they're going next. So if you're not careful in your business and you're not showing face, you're going to lose that customer. So don't just rely on your bartenders or your waiters. Go out there and have management. Make them feel like they're at home as well.
Bingo. We started the conversation about building relationship. If that bartender nurtures relationship, he's got a following and he deserves the tips that he makes and he deserves a higher hourly salary because if he has a Thursday night happy hour special and he's bringing people in the door, well, then he deserves a couple of extra bucks per hour. Great example. Here's an example about a product, Matt. Liquid Death. Okay, we were talking about this off the air with the team. Liquid Death sells water. I mean, you could get it from the tap. One of the most basic products on earth. But what made the brand impossible to confuse with anyone else was their voice, their branding. It was loud, it was funny, it was memorable. I mean, even the name, Liquid Death. The lesson there is that you don't need to be an exciting category to have a recognizable brand. You need a clear, succinct voice, a clear promise, or a clear reason people remember you. You can't confuse Liquid Death with any other Fiji or Avion water at that rack.
So, Lou, I have this block in my brain. I don't know why it's there. I just won't do it. I will not wear a jersey with another man's name on the back. So when my kids went out and bought me a Magic jersey, it says Meehan on the back. because I just refuse to wear it. However, I still wear the Orlando Magic. So the question is, how do we get our fans, our customers, to wear our jerseys?
Yeah, Matt, it's a little tribal, right? Do you want to be associated with the Orlando Magic, right? Like I default to my geography. Like I'm a New York Rangers fan because, well, when I was a little kid, I would watch WOR TV and watch those games and ask my mom to extend my curfew so I could watch it. Remember with the television with the rabbit ears? And I'd watch the Rangers game. And I guess that stuck with me. But I'm a fan because I'm a resident of New York, right? Now you are a transplant, but you're loyal to the Magic because your daughters play basketball and you go to the games. So there's that affiliation. Now, the interesting thing with the jersey proposition is how these teams, they have a road jersey, they have a home jersey, then they'll have a third away jersey, they'll have special occasion jerseys. But think about it. What are they doing? They're going deeper into that camaraderie and that tribal element of wanting to associate with your team or want to associate with the business you're a fan of. Like, why does swag work so well? I mean, Matt, I told you the story the other day. I went to a meeting and haphazardly, the guy had one of our mugs. And he goes, "Oh, you gave this to me years ago, and I keep it in my car all the time to keep my coffee." Look, that filled us with joy, and I'm sure it filled you with joy just hearing that story. But he enjoyed being associated with our brand.
You know, people love free stuff. So whether you have a restaurant, a service-based business, it's always good to have some merch handy, give it out as swag, give promotional codes, but even more, do something cool, right? Have a raffle. Have the fans get involved where they can win something big, which is a win-win for everybody.
I like that. Something memorable and also a token that maybe you come across in your house or you come across that drawer. Because you know what happens, Matt? We're all busy. So out of sight, out of mind. So for that special occasion, if you've got that bottle opener or you have that calendar, you remember years ago, all the banks would give calendars?
No, you're too old.
Oh, God, I date myself again.
But I guess the key question is, how do you as a business owner get your customers to wear your jersey?
So Matt, I think that starts from the initial conversation and the initial interaction, okay? Fans are not built from confusion. A lot of businesses lose trust early on because the process feels vague or, wait, hold on a second. You're bidding on a new kitchen, but how long is it going to take? What's the price? Well, it depends on the change orders, depends on the material, it depends. People like clarity. People like precision. Do customers know what happens next? Are the expectations clear? Is the pricing clear? Are communications clear? Super important. That sets the basis for the relationship.
No, I totally get it. I mean, if you look at examples of Uber and why they were able to dominate so quickly and take over, I mean, whoever thought Uber would take over taxis in New York? Never possible.
I didn't see it happening.
But what did they do? They were able to make the experience so easy that their fans, I'm a fan, was a fan, long story, get into that another time. Anyway, made the experience so easy for their customers that the customers actually fought City Hall to get Uber approved. Now that's a story in itself.
But it comes from that transparency and that clarity, right? I've got that pizza tracker that tells me when the car is coming. I know what the price is. I know who the driver is. I'm going to give him a security code to make certain he doesn't confuse me with anybody else. And usually that car is clean, doesn't smell like Punjabi food, and I'm not leaving with stains on my shirt because the New York taxis are disgusting.
Now, on the other end of this, we have Ticketmaster that was, buy a ticket for $100, pay $192 by the time you're done, hiding junk fees all across the way, which actually forced the government to react again. And the FTC stepped in and said, no more junk fees, right? So people revolted. All right. So the next way, I believe, to get customers to become fans is really consistency, right? Do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. And more importantly, make sure it's consistent all the time. If you look at Costco is practically the poster child for fandom, right? They create value People trust them, and they gladly hand over their $400 annual fee. Year in, year out, products that they put on display sell out all the time.
And for the love of God, when you make a mistake, own up to it and overcorrect. Don't ignore it.
Lou, you're absolutely right. If you make mistakes, you need to own it immediately and overcorrect. So many companies, but one that sticks out to me personally, it's Sonos. I have them all over my house. I have them in my bathroom, in my bedroom. I even have one outside, right? But they made so many changes to the app. I literally thought about getting rid of it all over. It would have cost me thousands of dollars, but I didn't care because every time there was an update, I got frustrated. My wife got frustrated. My kids were frustrated. Frustration was real.
Fans forgive mistakes. They do not forgive feeling played, and you felt played.
Yeah, listen, when you build a product, you have a routine and you have a great experience, and then you change it all up on me and you pull the rug out, I'm out. But if you step in, you correct, and you acknowledge that you're correcting the mistake, sure, I'll stick around and give you another shot.
Another key to fandom is making referrals easy. A lot of pleased customers would gladly like to send referrals, but they don't know how. There's no referral link. There's no phone call to make. They don't even know how to execute a referral. You make referrals easy, and think about it. That becomes your client acquisition cost, just dissipated.
Yeah, Lou, you're absolutely right. If you look at Dropbox made it really easy to invite somebody, get free storage, get more storage. It was so easy to understand. It wasn't overly complicated. You shared your documents. You wanted somebody else. You sent a simple link, clicked, and you were in. The people that try to overcomplicate that process always end up losing.
Word of mouth is powerful, but it still needs a handle.
And last but not least, you always got to give a person a reason to come back. We do it on TV. We got to do it in our business. We always need that cliffhanger, right? Why am I coming back to you? Why am I coming back to your restaurant? If you're in the restaurant industry, yeah, you want them to come back. Why? Not because they're hungry again, because you made them feel good. You gave them an experience. You made them smile when they left and not regret their decision from coming in the first place.
Matt, there's so many examples of that where brands create so much loyalty, whether it's your favorite gym or your favorite cycling platform, or even Starbucks. Starbucks made coffee personal, very familiar. Like people wanted to go to their third place just to hang out and pay $10 for a bad cup of coffee.
Starbucks is a great company because they've made a lot of mistakes, and they've made mistakes now again, and they're still trying to course correct along the way. And people keep going back.
And they respect their client. The sale is never their finish line. It's the beginning of the fan relationship. Matt, in keeping with the World Cup theme, we're going straight to yellow cards and red cards. I'm going to give you a lightning round scenario, and you're going to tell me if this is a yellow card or a red card.
Go.
Your only loyalty strategy is discounts.
Yellow card.
Good man. Discounts can drive action, but they rarely create attachment. Next up, new customers get better deals than loyal customers.
Red card.
See ya. That makes your best customers feel punished for sticking around. No bueno. Next up, customers like you, but they do not remember your name.
Red card.
Matt, come on. When you walk into the restaurant, hey, Mr. Meehan, welcome back to the restaurant. Makes you feel great. Next up, customers have to chase.
No, sir. It says customers like you, but they do not remember your name. Red card. Customers have to chase you for updates.
That's a red card, Matt. You're making people work too hard to trust you.
100%. Agreed. We're on the same page there. You get sales, but no referrals.
Yellow card. Customers may be satisfied, but they're not impressed enough to talk about you.
You promise the world and then disappear when things get messy.
That's a red card. You're out of the game. Big claims create big expectations, but silence destroys trust.
You blame the customer when things go wrong.
Red card. Even when the customer is wrong, the way you handle that moment matters. You can win the argument, but lose the fan.
Either way, Lou, both of these colored cards, the red card, the yellow card, most of these, they're fixable. The point is to not give customers a reason not to root for you.
And that's the Jersey test. Ask yourself, business owner, do customers remember you? Do they come back without being chased? Do they refer us? Do they know why we are different? Do they trust us enough to pay a little more? Do they feel appreciated after the sale? And if we weren't around, would they even miss us? That's the Jersey test.
You know, the World Cup connection, it's not really about soccer. It's about what happens when people feel connected enough to root for you and your business.
For businesses, that does not always look like jerseys, chants, and face paint. Sometimes it looks like repeat customers, strong reviews, easy referrals, fewer price objections, and loyal regulars.
That is fandom. So stop asking yourself, how do I get more customers? And start asking yourself, how do I build something that people actually want to root for? We'll catch you on the next episode.
Hey, Matt, I'm just letting you know, today's my last day of work for about 30 days. I'll see you in a month, buddy.
Later.